Hey everyone! Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. We decided to come out for a little beach walk tonight. It is just beautiful here on Sanibel, and there's some people hanging out on the beach, but everybody's doing a good job at social distancing, and it is low tide and the water's just so super calm and pretty clear. And so I wanted to just do some virtual shelling because there's some fun little shell spots that I wanted to kind of show you guys. And I'm walking down this way because Barry's doing some FaceTime with his kids. Today is his birthday, so unfortunately they weren't able to come visit him, so they're doing a little bit of a FaceTime chat, and I just don't want to get feedback from that video. But so we always talk about rack lines, so you guys can see that here's where the water is now, and then you can see all the way up here is where the high tide line came in, all the way up here. So this is all uncovered, and usually I like to shell what I call like kind of the fresh tide line, so all of these shells right here where Barry's walking. But because the water is really calm and pretty clear right now, I love to shell the break line. So if you have been following me and you watch my videos, you're gonna know that the break line is my favorite place to shell. And the break line is literally the line where the waves break. And you can't always shell the break line because sometimes the water is just too cloudy or it's too wavy and you can't really see. If you look right here, it looks like we've got a little riding conch right here. So that's really fun. And so anytime that I'm shelling, okay, so you can see the wind picked up a little bit and now it's just got a little bit more wavy. Sometimes a boat will go by, not in this case, but it's just the wind. So you just have to kind of be patient, and you want to kind of look for color, and you want to look for shape. And I don't know what we're gonna find out here today. So like here I see some orange right here, and this might just be one of those little worm rocks. It is just a worm rock, but that's kind of like an idea of what you're looking for. You want to look for some bright color. Orange is always a good one to look for. You want to look for things rolling. So I saw something rolling here. Let's see if I can grab it. Oh, it looked like a little juvenile conch, but I lost it. Let's see if I can see it again. Here it is. Did I get it this time? Oh, I don't think I was quick enough. I'm slacking on my shelling reflexes. I gotta get back into my quick shelling scoop. Alright, well I think I might have lost it for good, so that's alright. We'll find another one. So we're just gonna keep looking here. Oh, here it is. It's right here. Right here, a little juvenile fighting conch. Make sure it's empty. So if you can see the way the waves are coming, they're coming this direction. Okay, so you guys can kind of see the angle of the waves. So the wind is blowing this way. So if you see a shell and you miss it, it's gonna go this way. So you just gotta keep moving in that direction. So here's some shells out here that are always kind of fun to look for. I'm gonna try to keep moving so you guys can see. The water's just a little bit cloudy there. Sometimes if I got here a little sooner or the water was a little bit more shallow, it might be a little bit better to see. Ooh, look at this. This pretty little whelk that just washed right up there. Nobody home. Beautiful little lightning whelk. Shake that sand out. That's a beautiful one. And I did have a question about shell bags. I am shelling with show you guys Barry's shell bag that I made for him on his birthday a couple years ago. He's a Maryland Terrapin, so I made him his own Maryland Terrapin shell bag that I conveniently stole out of his backpack just now. I do still have shell bags available. I did take down my website just because I'm switching domain hosts. And so for temporarily, my website's going to be down, but if you are interested in shell bags, just send me a message on Facebook or an email. You can email me at beachtreasuresbylaura@gmail.com, and I can send you a list of what I have available. Look at that pretty little juvenile fighting conch there with nobody home. So that's a pretty one. So lots of fun little shells that are kind of rolling in after all this crazy weather that we've been having. We've been having some winds. We had a couple of little storms come through. Nothing really big. Okay, do you guys see? I'm gonna hold this here to see if you guys see it. See if you guys can see what I see. Do you guys see it yet? I have a dress on and the wind is blowing, and I'm really hoping with all these people behind me I don't accidentally like flash anybody. Look at this pretty little banded tulip. Absolutely beautiful. Love tulips. Love the tulips. I didn't realize it was going to be so breezy. I'm glad I have a longer dress on than a shorter dress. It's definitely not considered a long dress, but it's longer than some of the dresses I wear. So that's good at least. Let me get down here so you guys can see. Here's a piece of what looks like a broken piece of a king crown, but that's kind of cool. You know, I'm a fan of some of the imperfect or broken shells. I mean, that's just really kind of a unique looking shell, even though it's broken. I like to kind of keep those fun ones, especially if it's a shell that it's not common, that you don't commonly find. Here's another rolling piece of tulip, if you guys can see, right there. That one up. So it's broken, but again, it's kind of a fun little broken piece, you know? And here is a pretty, super pretty little juvenile fighting conch again. Look at the pattern on that one. That one's really pretty. Super pretty on that little zigzag pattern there. I'm gonna come out here. Now I just got my phone back, my replacement phone. So I'm gonna be really careful to not drop it in the water. So I've had my phone for like an hour. Let's see if I can handle not dropping it in the water and losing my phone. But here we've got, let's see, there's a little, ooh, that's kind of a well-worn and beat up conch there, but I'm looking in the water and I'm seeing some bigger kind of shells. So sometimes if you get out here, and I'm just kind of, you know, ankle deep in the water, I'm not deep at all, but this is kind of where you'll sometimes find some cool shells that are kind of hidden in the sand, some bigger fighting conchs and maybe some little bigger whelks and things like that. Oh, let's see what else we can find here. I love it how the water is getting a little bit more calm. You can see. And then up here, you'll see that there's lots of shells in little piles. So I'll probably hit this on the way back. I'm not really sure if the tide is coming in or going out. Ooh, look at this little olive. Oh, can you guys see this little olive right here? Look how cute. Oh, that's so adorable. Little mini olive. But if the tide's going out, I'm good. If the tide's coming in, then all of this is going to be pretty murky pretty soon. So I want to make sure that I can kind of, ooh, look at this pretty fighting conch. Beautiful tip on this one. Wow. Nobody's home. Look how pretty. Yeah, really nice. And here's a cute little cockle, little baby heart cockle there. Whoops. So lightweight, he's blown away. Lots of fun little shells out here, and I keep trying to look up to see if we have any dolphins or action going on. I don't really see anything yet, but sometimes during a nice calm low tide is when we might see some dolphin activity. So if I see anything, I'll definitely let you guys know. But it's just a quick view of the beach. We should have a pretty little sunset tonight too, so that'll be nice. So hopefully you guys are at home and you can enjoy this fun little beach walk with me. And I know that a lot of you are really bummed that your trips are having to be canceled, but don't worry, the beach will be here when you get here. And there are plenty of shells to go around. Ooh, what is this right here? What do we see? I spy something orange and banded. Pretty little tulip. And out here, it's a little bit murky, but this is always a really fun area to kind of look for shells in here too. I could spend so much time just really investigating all of this like, what do you call it, shell activity in this area. I just saw something rolling here too. Do you guys see that? I'll give you guys a minute. I'm determined to teach you how to shell from afar, so when you get here, you know what to look for. You will be some expert shellers. Another tulip. Boom! Super pretty. Nobody home. Always check your shells. I usually check them twice to make sure. Oh, is this a buttercup? And sometimes you see one like this and then you flip it over and it's really pretty underneath. That one's not too bright orange, or sorry, bright yellow, but it is pretty. There we go. I love buttercups. They're a fun shell to collect. Let's see what else we can find here. Thank you guys for all of your very sweet comments on my channel. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you guys are enjoying these videos, and I know that a lot of you are stuck at home, and I'm hoping that this brings a little bit of the beach to you. So I want to show you guys here. This is something else you can look for. So as you're walking along, if you can see this sticking out of the ground right here, okay? Sometimes this might be broken, but sometimes it might not be, okay? In this case, it's broken. It's a piece of a lightning well, but it might not be broken, okay? And so anytime you see something sticking up like that, you always want to kind of investigate, because it could be a big conch or a big lightning well stuck in the sand. So always make sure that you're looking for that as well, because that's always something really fun to look for. And I found some really fun shells by looking for just that spike kind of poking up out of the sand. See if we see anything over here. And so now the shells are getting a little bit more sparse. So that's what I'm talking about. Like when you come out to the beach and you don't see shells right away, you might have to walk a little bit. There's a really pretty little olive. It's a nice little olive right here. Try to focus in. I think I got water on my screen. And let's see if we see anything out here. So same thing when you are looking, you're gonna look for things that are buried like that. And it might just be a piece of a shell, or it might be broken, but it might be a whole one. Just like that. There's just another little shell inside that, but that's a pretty conch. It's a really nice looking conch. So I'm, just to give you guys kind of another perspective, so I'm shelling the break line, but then I'm looking up in here as well. Okay, just to give you an idea of where I'm at in relation to the shore. So now the waves, if you can see, like there's a little sandbar right here. It goes all the way out. So the waves are kind of breaking And then as they come in, it gets really shallow and it gets really clear. So this is great. This is also a really fun place that you're gonna find those tinies and minis. So if you remember my tip about all that black stuff, okay, all this little, like, you see all the little black stuff right here that's floating around? This is where you're gonna find all of your minis and tinies. So if you're a mini and tiny person, this is where you can either take a little scooper and scoop it up and look, or as the tide goes out even more, if I do believe the tide is going out right now, so this will make a nice little line, and this is where you're going to want to look for all of those little teeny tiny shells, all the little Wentel traps, all the little tiny rice olives, the bubble shells, right along this little area where you see that darker colored sand. So when it gets up here, I'll show you a little bit better. And here's another little piece of a conch. Okay, but this one's just a piece, but that's okay, because what you're doing is you're training your eye, right? You're training your eye to look for the pieces, right? So here's another little piece. Again, it's broken, but that's okay, because eventually you're gonna pick one up that's not broken. And that's another little pretty conch. Super fun. This is ending up to be a pretty fun little shell adventure. What do you see here? Anybody see something down here? What about this little nutmeg? My husband's favorite shell. He loves nutmegs. Super pretty. I love nutmegs. Sorry, I'm trying to focus in. I'm filming with my left hand today. I might switch in a second because I'm not doing a very good job focusing in, am I? So I'm just doing the same thing, just walking along. The water's super calm and super clear. And we're just seeing all the fun things out here. Here's another piece, right? You see the piece of the whelk, and it could be whole or it might be a broken one, but we're gonna check it out and we're gonna rinse it off. And look at that. That's a really, whoops, okay, drop it. It's a really nice pretty lightning whelk. Look at that. Make sure nobody's inside. Super pretty. And then right ahead of it here is another piece. I'm gonna dig this up. Wow, look how pretty this one is. I love fighting conchs. My husband is like, stop collecting fighting conchs. But the one's prettier than the next, right? I only try to collect I can't even talk. Collect like special colored ones, but like they're all kind of special, right? Here's another piece of one, and here, what's this? Ooh, this is a little, look how pretty. Little apple murex. And then right here, do we have something else right here? Oh, we have a little turbo. So we have a 3-fur right here in a row. That's super fun. So hopefully you're getting a good idea of how I shell. Okay, so now the tide's going out. You can see that there's hardly any water, right? It'll keep going out, but you can see now there's a very clear line here, right? Okay, so if you get down, this is where you're gonna find your tinies. And if you wait a little while longer till it's completely calm, you won't have to worry about that water coming in. But like here's a little, oops, here's a little bubble shell. But this is where you're gonna find all of your tinies. Look at that one right here. Let me try to focus. Oh, right there, see it? Right there. Let's see if I can, oh, where'd it go? Here it is. Let's see if I can grab it. Show you guys how tiny. Oh, it's so cute, oh my gosh. So that is where you are gonna find the little babies. If that is what you like to find. Ooh, here's another pretty little, let's see, pretty little apple murex right here. And then here, we've got a pretty, finding all kinds of stuff just buried right here. There's a little trio. And then over here, let's make a little, look how cool. So fun, so fun, so fun. All right, so now the tide is coming in a little bit more, and you guys can see though it's getting a little bit wavy, and I'm kind of losing that nice clear calm rack line. I also want you guys to kind of notice and understand that like the shells aren't quite as good where I'm walking right now as they were from where I just came. So when I come out in video, I try to video as realistically as I can. So there's days that I don't even plan on doing a video. I just come out here and I'm like, I think I'm gonna do a video. So, you know, sometimes there's tons of shells, sometimes there's no shells, sometimes I don't know if there's gonna be shells. But let me just give you guys an example that if you come to the beach on vacation, you come down here and you're staying on the island, and like you come up to like this condo and you stay here and you come out to the beach and you decide to walk this way towards Lighthouse, and you're not seeing the same kind of shells that I've been picking up. But then somebody else is staying at that condo and they come out to the beach the same time as you and they walk that way where I just found all those shells. Okay, like the shells are here. They might not be presently visible the day that you shell, or they might not be in the same exact area where you're walking that day, but they're here. So just keep that in mind. Like as I'm walking right now, I can't even see anymore. I can't even see, right? It's like, it's kind of deep here. This is completely murky. I can't see anything. There's not really anything that I can really visibly see in this rack line. I can't remember the last time I like picked a shell up, right? So if I was a sheller, where am I gonna go? I could A, continue walking, knowing that the tide's coming in. Maybe it'll get better down there. I don't know if it will. Or I could turn around and I could go back to where I came and go shell that until the tide comes in. Your other option is to come up here, okay, to where all of these shells are. And that's why I said, you know, if the tide is going out or it's low tide, I shell the break line first, because when that tide starts coming in, that's done. I can't see that anymore. But now I have some time to shell up here, okay, before that tide comes back in. So that is another option for you guys as well. So hopefully that helps, and you guys can kind of, you know, get an idea. Ooh, here's another piece of sea pork. Sea pork, this is out of a yellow piece. Comes in purple, comes in red, orange, kind of all the colors, comes in blue. But it is sea pork, and it kind of looks like a, you know, piece of pork. Don't eat it. So anyway, so I'm gonna come back down this way and see if I can show you guys some more shells in the water where we came. So just keep that in mind if you guys want a little view of the sunset. Just keep that in mind that, you know, a lot of times people will tell me, oh, I went to the beach today out in front of my condo and I didn't see any shells. Well, you might have to walk, and you might have to walk kind of far. Okay, you might have to walk like a mile or two, you guys, because if you're all the way down, you know, at you know, Sundial, okay, which is like all the way that way, like around the corner, you know, and the shells are all here, you might have to do some walking. Okay, and the same thing, vice versa. You're on the beach here on East Gulf, and the hot spot happens to be down by Sundial, you know, because you just don't know where the shells are going to be. But I can promise you there's shells here. So whoever doesn't think there's shells here, you're not coming on the right day, which is not your fault. I'm not saying like you know what day to come. I'm just saying that you might not happen to be here on a day that the water's really calm and clear and the tide is right and whatnot. Like, see how clear it is now? There's a big scallop right here, part of a whelk right here. Like, now you can start to kind of see. Right back there you couldn't see anything, right? So now you can kind of see. So we're gonna keep walking back to where we found all those fun shells. And you can even just see the difference. Like, there's just activity here, right? Lots of shells, lots of activity. Let's just go a little bit slower just so we don't miss anything. We don't don't want to miss anything fun. And I'm sure when I'm videoing, because half the time I'm looking in the camera and half the time I'm looking at the ground, so I'm sure I do miss a lot of things. A few of you have pointed out to me before. I know you're like, oh my gosh, you missed something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't see it. Oh, look at this scallop. This is a pretty scallop. I love the scallops that are pink, and then they have that orange, like that sunburst. You see that? It's a really pretty scallop. You can always find scallops too. People say that like, oh, I can't find any shells. Well, you're not looking for scallops. There's scallops everywhere. They're beautiful. And you can make scallop wreaths, and you can make scallop Christmas trees. You can make all kinds of beautiful scallop crafts. Put scallops in a bowl. You can do all kinds of fun things with scallops. Not seeing a whole lot of live sea life today. Sometimes we'll see a lot of like, you know, most of the shells, actually all of the shells that we picked up so far have been empty, I believe. I don't think I've picked up any that have had any crabs in them or have been alive, but you know, sometimes you'll pick up shells and they'll be alive. A lot of times down at Lighthouse, I find that that's an area that has a lot of life. So if you're wanting to see a lot of starfish or show your kids, you know, some live conchs and some live shells, that's definitely an area that I recommend going. A little buried conch. Oh, that's a cute one. Look how cute this one is. It's kind of a fun little pattern to it. And then right here is that little murex. Oh, it's a little broken murex. But that's kind of what you're looking for. Look, here's another little murex right here. So rinse them off. It's a pretty dark one. In there. Super pretty. Super fun. Let's see, there's another little mini juvie conch. And then here, if you see this, right here is a piece of a whelk, but you don't really know if it's a piece or not, so we're going to try to dig and see. And it looks like one that's been through a little rough waters. So it's been buried. See how it's turning black? So you can tell the shell, since it's been turning black, has been buried in sediment for a really long time. When it oxidizes, it turns black in color like that. And then it's got some barnacles on it. It's kind of a cool shell, because this one's got a story to tell, I assure you. And then here looks like maybe an orange scallop. So we love orange scallops, right? I mean, orange scallops are like orange cats. Everybody loves an orange cat, everybody loves an orange scallop, right? Pretty. Pretty. The sun is starting to set. You can see. And we're doing pretty good with our light here. And we're doing pretty good with the water. You can still see it's very clear. Looks like a little piece of a whelk. Let's see if it's, oh, it is a whole one. Look at that. I was not expecting that to be whole, but it is. So that's really fun. Look at that. I kind of feel like we need to do like a shell giveaway. What do you guys think? I feel like with all of this coronavirus stuff, canceling people's vacations, and a lot of you are just at home and you're so bummed, and I feel like we gotta, oh, look at that, that one's really pretty. Look at the tip on that murex, it's beautiful. I feel like we need to have some fun, so I think we're gonna do a shell giveaway. I think that would be something fun. What do you guys think? Do I get a thumbs up on that? Do a little seashell gift pack for somebody. for a lucky viewer. All right, so if you guys would like to participate in that giveaway, let's see, I need you to, ooh, hold on a second. Is this a nice big shark eye? Oh, it's got some, ooh, that's kind of cool. It's got some hitchhiking barnacles on it. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a neat one, huh? He's empty, and I don't think any of these little hitchhikers are, this one's empty. I try not to take shells that have hitchhikers on them. See, this one's empty too. Because listen guys, like, before I get into the giveaway, I know you guys are all excited about that now. If you pick up a shell and it's covered in Indian boats or slipper shells, and they're alive, even if this shell's empty, that shell is still a living shell. So you need to either remove them or throw it back. So keep in mind, because I've seen a lot of people get them home and then they're like, how do I get all these things off? And well, like, those shells are alive. Does that make sense? So if a shell is acting as a carrier shell and they're carrying other live shells on them, like these little, this looks like some type of little mussel or oyster or some type of clam. Okay, it's empty, but you want to make sure that you're either pulling these off before you leave the beach or throwing the shell back. Does that make sense? So if it is home to another animal, you want to just make sure that you're giving that animal a chance to stay at the beach. Does that make sense? Let me pick up a couple big scallops because somebody's going to get some really pretty big scallops too. Look at these beautiful big scallops. That is a beautiful one. Nice high contrast scallop. Let's see. Oh, here's a good little section here. So let me get down. Oh, I'm gonna get my dress wet. Okay, here's a little tulip here, a little tulip. And then right here, it looks like we've got a little calico crab shell. Now, calico crab shells, this is just the shell, there's no crab. They're super, super fragile, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, most of the time I can't even get these home and they break. So they're super, super pretty, but if you ever find them, do not put them in your shell bag. You've got to hand carry them back because they will crack and break, and it sucks. But they're just so super fragile. They're even more fragile than most sand dollars. So if you happen to find one, just make sure that you either put it in a different place or just try to hand carry it back because they are extremely fragile. When you get it home, do not bleach it. It will bleach out the shell completely. Just let it dry out and then coat the bottom. You can coat the top too if you want, but I usually just coat the bottom with a couple layers of Elmer's glue. You can use the white or the clear and let it dry. Do a couple coats of that and it will really help kind of stabilize and preserve that shell. But it will continue to be rather fragile. So just make sure that wherever you display it or put it in your shell bowl or whatever, that you're just being extra careful with that shell because they are like super, super fragile. All right, guys, here are the details for the seashell giveaway. Please make sure to like this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel. And please comment below saying that you are in. Say, I'm in. Please do not put any personal contact information in the comment section. I will be doing an announcement of the winner of this giveaway in an upcoming video, so make sure that you are watching and that you are subscribed. And so if you see your name announced, then you will be able to contact me directly and I will get your shipping information then. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that these videos are fun for you. I hope that you're learning a lot. I hope that you stay enthusiastic and stay optimistic and look forward to your upcoming trip, whether it be in the next couple months or you're coming down next year or whenever it may be. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.